if you're running your business reactively, you are waking up in the middle of the night, having a bad sleep, waking up in the morning, realizing you have this massive to-do list, overwhelmed, you're bringing bad energy into your business. Your clients are like, are you checked out? Are you okay? They can feel that there's this chaotic energy. The team start to feel that and it mirrors throughout. And so what happens is you're reactive. You start making decisions that may not be the smartest for the business. Hello and welcome back to another episode on the Beauty Industry Leaders podcast. I'm your host, Sammy Kennedy, and today I've got Elli joining me, and we're going to be doing a 5-part series about what the smartest beauty CEOs are doing to stay ahead in 2026. So today's episode is going to be part 1, and it's all about how to ditch the burnout and find a scalable business model that actually works for you. But before we dive into that, tell me, Elli, what's been going on in your life at the moment? Give me a short update.
Short update, finished the full-time job. So the side hustle is no longer a side hustle, it's the main hustle. And still got clients that I'm seeing out before baby comes, which is now only really 3.5 weeks away. That's me, girl. What about you?
Oh gosh, that's wild. How are you feeling about having a second child?
It's a weird feeling because I can't imagine loving another child more than I love Denver. But watching the way Denver is in anticipation of this child, this baby boy coming along is just the most, your heart cannot bear that. Like, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. She is just so excited. And so it just fills your heart with so much happiness. So am I having the baby for her? Maybe I am. She thinks it's her baby anyway.
Oh my gosh. I know I was the oldest sister and my brother's 2 years younger than me. And oh my gosh, I was the bossy sister. Like, I reckon Denver, she's going to be the protector, but also she's going to be bossing him around, telling him what to do, keeping him in line.
Yeah, 100%. There is no chance this boy's going to be stepping out of the line. That's for sure. What's happening to you?
Yesterday, I had a meeting with a sponsor, which is really exciting for the retreat. So Dermatonics is the brand. The lady I met with was Donna, and she is a biochemist by trade. So I got to have a look at all of the products that they stock, and I really thought, wow, this is going to be incredible, because in the PR packages that we've been getting developed at the moment, I wanted to have a sunscreen brand that we could incorporate into those gift packages so that, you know, you're going to Vietnam, it's hot weather, you want some sunscreen. So I got given 2 different sunscreens to test. One is tinted and the other one isn't tinted. So I'm going to trial both and see how they go, and I'll keep you updated with that. I also have Lash coming on board. They are going to be sponsoring with travel lash foaming cleansers, and those are incredible. Like, I literally use them when I was having lash extensions, but I actually use them every single day because I wear mascara. And I found that using that foaming lash cleanser works way better than any of the other makeup removers I've ever used. And also, because I have contact lenses, I can literally wash my eyelashes with the contacts in. And if anything gets in my eye, it doesn't hurt. So
wow,
it's really exciting. Like, I'm in this process of developing my own products with Jade from Lash. So she's stepped in, 6 years experience in doing this whole e-commerce thing, and she is guiding me through, helping me with manufacturers, designing, going back and forth. So shout out to Jade. Thank you so much. It's been a really exciting process. But yeah, wow, lots of waiting around, lots of going back and forth. I can see why people need to plan out a product line, 1 to 2 years in advance before they even launch. But yeah, that's what's been going on. To be really honest, I've been getting a lot of imposter syndrome and really struggling. And I don't know if many people talk about this, but I got so down in the dumps. There was one day and I was just like, what am I doing this for? Like, am I even good at what I do? Like, am I helping anyone? And instead of staying stuck there like I would for maybe a couple weeks, like that day I reached out to my old mindset coach and I was like, all right, I need to reach the next level and I need you to help me get rid of this shit. And full transparency, I have carried on so strong for so long, getting through that whole bowling build process and almost going bankrupt and pitching to people and getting all of the systems and processes set up and just hitting the ground running. And we've had a huge amount of success, but what's actually happened is all of the emotional stuff that I had to push aside to just survive through that period has started coming up for me a lot. So I've got a lot of money mindset and money trauma around, oh my gosh, what happens if we go bankrupt? Like, even though there's money there, it's like, what if it disappears tomorrow? And so I'm working on that and I'll keep you updated with how it goes and what's worked for me. But so far, if you're in a motivational slump, you've got that imposter syndrome, you're feeling really down, Good Vibes, Good Life by Vex King. Such an incredible book. It always resets me whenever I'm in a low state of self-worth or just feeling like it's not good enough. And then the second thing is go to the gym, do a workout, go for a walk, go for a run, move your body, dance. I don't care what it is. You need to raise your vibration and listen to an audiobook or a podcast, something that's going to really inspire and motivate you, because when you hear that, it starts to breathe life into you. And I think more people need to realize that this stuff does happen for everyone, but it's choosing between, are you going to stay stuck or are you going to do something about it? Anyway, so if you're listening to this episode right now, I have a question for you. When was the last time you actually worked on your business instead of just drowning in it?
And honestly, Sammy, I think most people are stuck reacting to problems instead of proactively building a business that can actually scale.
That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Why the smartest CEOs are ditching burnout and finally building business models that support their life, not sabotage it.
Sammy, do you feel like burnout has been glorified in the beauty industry? It's almost like it's a badge of honor to be constantly overwhelmed. I'm so busy. I've got so much business coming in. I'm doing 80 hours, 90 hours in a week. What do you think about that?
I think there's so much pressure on beauty business owners in general to think about it. You've got to show up for clients. You got to show up for your team. You got to show up as a partner, a wife, a mum, a daughter, a friend. And when we go on social media, we see so many people highlighting all their achievements, right? So it's the new salon fit out. It's hiring new team members. It's getting the new car. It's, going on that holiday. There's all these things that we're constantly comparing ourselves to. But then on top of that, we've got this message that's being reinforced. And I see it especially in the beauty industry, is that you have to wear all the hats. You have to do it all. You're the accountant, you're the bookkeeper, you're the cleaner, you're the social media marketer, you're the admin person, you're providing services. And I think people have actually started to normalize that mindset about I have to do it all on my own. And, I can't afford the help, so I'm not going to get the help. Or, I don't know. I've just seen all these posts and it's these people who wear all the hats, they are the ones that stay stuck and burnt out. And you look at these smart leaders who've built these multi-million-dollar businesses, or maybe they didn't build a multi-million-dollar business. Maybe they're working solo, but they can go take their school holidays off and spend time with kids. There's just so many different business models out there. And I think people need to get clear on what they actually want and how they structure the business around their life, because the burnout side comes from trying to do it all, trying to keep up with everyone else, and not actually having any kind of plan or structure with what your goals are, how you're going to achieve them, and where you're currently investing your time, effort, and energy. So I'm really interested, Ellie, before the majority of your CEOs start working with you, what does their day-to-day look like? Do they ever feel like their business relies too much on them?
Oh my gosh, yeah. These business owners generally are juggling multiple roles. So from managing staff, handling the bookings, they do the stock, they do the customer service, they are, running around for team members or putting out fires. They're doing everything. And the idea of them actually, they don't even know how to offload or delegate specific jobs to their staff members. That's one thing that we work on straight off the bat, because if you want to have that lifestyle where you can step away from your business, you need to make sure that the roles and responsibilities are delegated to the right people. And the other thing is that it just ends up leaving the team constantly asking questions or needing reassurance with no initiative or confidence to actually just go ahead and let the business flow as it should flow. I feel sorry for business owners who are in that mindset, because they have no idea that once they do let things go and they have specifically gone through the right staff members to do specific jobs, how much weight is lifted off their shoulders, and not to mention the amount of confidence that they put back into their team members.
I actually find with even sole traders or people with smaller teams, let's say under 5, they don't even realize that they could outsource certain things in their business. So, for example, we just had the episode about outsourcing tasks or delegating tasks to a VA. You know, understanding where you can actually outsource certain things in your business that are just not worth your time and energy, that will also alleviate that mental load of having a long to-do list and go, cool, I can go pay for that. I can get that done. I can't remember who I was talking to. Actually, yes, it's a podcast guest that's about to come on. You are going to love him. And yes, I say him because it's the first male I'm having on the podcast. So keen.
Yes.
But basically, we were planning out this episode, and one of the things he said was during his salon fit out, he just did stupid stuff. Like, for example, he's like, I could have just paid for shipping to get this, you know, I think it was like a bed or something, shipped straight to the salon and put in, pay $100, whatever it is. And then he's like, instead, I was going, okay, I need to message my dad, borrow his ute, then organize the time to pick it up, then make sure that the shop's open, bring it back. And it's like the amount of time and energy you waste trying to do it all, thinking, oh yeah, I'll save some dollars. And you don't save dollars, you waste. And he was like, I could have made, you know, $300 an hour easily if I had those 4 hours and I was working, but instead I was trying to save money. And I think so many of us need that reminder that when you start in business, especially, you're trading all your time for money because you don't have money. Like, you know, that's all you got. But then as time goes on and you start to grow, you know, even if you don't have a team, you know, one of the biggest trade-offs I had to make, and I don't know if I've spoken about this on the podcast or not, but I remember one time I was sitting here and I was like, okay, I need to hire an OBM. And if you've heard of a VA, like a virtual assistant, an OBM is someone who's more specialized. So they build out systems and processes. They have a specialized skill set. And so the OBM for me was 650 AUD for 20 hours. And I just went, oh my gosh, that's so money. Like, oh, I don't want to pay that. But then I realized that's actually one profitable pricing session for me. And so that 90 minutes where I would make $660 actually pays for her to do 20 hours, which if I was doing that all myself, oh my gosh, I reckon it would have taken me, you know, 4 times the amount of time it would take her to do it. So it's really interesting, like coming back to that whole hustle culture, you know, how much of it are you actually not delegating because you're taking that opportunity away from your team, or you think that you have to do it all. It just, yeah, I can't.
Why do you think so many beauty business owners feel guilty about stepping away from their business, even if it means for a weekend?
I can only speak to the clients that I've worked with. When I have people who don't have kids, I think a lot of them are very career focused, and so they want to make as much money as they can. So sometimes they don't have that boundary in place where they're going, you know what, I'm not going to work after this time, or I'm not going to respond to these emails. Like someone asked and they bend over backwards and they're like, yep, I'm going to do this. And so they almost feel this pressure that if they were to take a weekend off or they were to take a week off, that the business is going to fall apart, clients are going to get angry, and it's the end of the world. The other side of it is people who are parents. I have had conversations where they don't feel fully present in the business because they feel like they're neglecting their family, and then they don't feel like they're fully present with their family because they're then neglecting the business. And so we have been conditioned in a society where we're working a lot. Like, what kind of life are you living if you're working every single day of the week, especially as a business owner? Like, you built your business to create freedom, but then, you're working even more than you would if you were working 9 to 5 and you're getting paid less sometimes. Like, depends on what stage your business is at. But especially in those early, stages when you're hiring and you're investing, you struggle. And so to take a step away from the business, you're going to be scared that there's not enough money coming in. You're going to be scared that, I know for a fact that I've had a few guests on this podcast and the same things happen. They go on a holiday and then they have 1 or 2 team members resign. And there's all these little fears that come up as what if the business breaks? And I think that comes down to your systems and processes. If you have good management, if you have a support system. But to really answer your question, why do they feel guilty? It's because they don't feel like they're worthy of it. They feel like they have to work. They don't feel like they deserve the time off because they're giving everything to everyone else and not putting themselves first. So, Elli, what do you think the warning signs are that someone's business model isn't scalable?
The owner is the only decision maker. So they're spending too much time answering every question or every approval that has to, all the approvals has to go through them, and nothing can run without their input, first and foremost. Because how are you meant to scale if you're constantly doing that? They don't have systems and processes. So everything is inside their head. They make it impossible to delegate or train anyone effectively because it always has to come back to them. And kind of on the back end of what we're talking about with businesses feeling guilty stepping away, it's because they haven't set up. I think the other thing hand in hand with that is they have not set up any systems, processes, policies, procedures, so that if they do step away, the girls can go, oh, well, this is what we do in this situation. And I feel like, especially if profit isn't growing with revenue, sales are increasing, expenses are rising, and the business owner doesn't see the money, the take-home money. They're definitely not scalable. They're definitely.
When I first heard the word systems and processes, I was like, yeah, but what does that mean? Seriously, even to this day, I sit there and I'm like, I'm not good at systems and processes. That was me at the start of this year. And for the last 6 months, I have been dialing it in and learning. But for the business owner who's listening to this and I hear everyone say systems and processes, what does that look like? Can you explain really simply how I could set up a system or process in my business?
As a business, like a beauty business owner?
Yeah.
For starters, even the front of house.
Let's say they don't have a front of house, it's them, they got 2-3 team members and they are working their ass off. Nothing is streamlined. They don't have a front of house. Give me something else.
All right. They're straight from even policies and procedures with the way they perform their treatments or their expectations for how they are walking their client. Every step, every single step that you take with that new therapist, you are going to document. So it's the way that oh my gosh, I feel like I've got so much in my head right now. It's not even coming out. It's the way that you take your client through. It's the way that you ask them specific questions before they get on the bed. It's the way you leave the room, documenting the actual process of the service so that when the next person comes in, they know the expectation of what they're doing. It is being at the front desk and answering the phone the same way. It's having, telephone phone scripts to be able to answer questions effectively, even if they're new to the business and they don't know, the ins and outs of every single treatment, but they've got something there that they can read and they can break it down really quickly.
Yep.
It's just documenting as you go so that you don't have to you don't have to repeat it every time. You can say, this is how this is. Let's read over this. Now you've got it in your hand.
100%. I think that gives a lot more clarity too, because a system, when I think about systems, I'm like, there's softwares out there. There's literally writing it in a Google Doc. There is having a whole automation and flow. Like there's so many different ways of setting up systems in your business. But the simplest way to think about it, like Ellie is saying, is just list out steps 1, 2, 3, 4 in a sequential order. And you'll know that you have good systems in your business if someone asks you in your team, or if you onboarded a VA, how do I do this? And you can hand them something they could go follow and do without you. And they could execute that task efficiently and effectively.
The only other thing I'm going to add to that is if you can record it and put it in a Dropbox, even better. Like running through new appointment books and systems. Like if I had to show one staff member something, I would be taking a video of it and putting it in the group chat so they could all see it and they could all refer back to it.
Love that. I was chatting with a salon owner the other day who said, Sammy, I feel like I'm constantly working, but nothing's actually working. She was posting daily, reels, stories, replying to DMs between clients. Her team looked to her for everything, and she still lay in bed at night wondering if next week's bookings would cover the bills. Sound familiar? That's exactly why I created Booked, Banked and In Demand. It's the system I wish I had when I was burnt out, overwhelmed, and wondering if all this effort was ever going to pay off. And it's now helped over 300 beauty business owners get off the income roller coaster and actually grow, filling their books, boosting their income, and finally building a business that gives back instead of draining them. Inside, I'll show you how to attract clients with content that actually converts, use AI and done-for-you scripts to save 20 plus hours a week, hire your first VA and delegate the entire back end of your business, and build a system that keeps your business booked without burning you out. So if you've been craving clarity, clients, cash flow, and calm, this is your shortcut. Click the link in the show notes and join Booked, Banked and In Demand now. Let's build a beauty business that doesn't run you into the ground.
I want to know, Sammy, let's break it down. What are the real costs of running a reactive business? Like, how do you think that constant stress and pressure affects the team culture and client experience?
If you're running your business reactively, you are waking up in the middle of the night, having a bad sleep, waking up in the morning, realizing you have this massive to-do list, overwhelmed, you're bringing bad energy into your business. Your clients are like, are you checked out? Are you okay? They can feel that there's this chaotic energy. The team start to feel that, and it mirrors throughout. And so what happens is you're reactive. You start making decisions that may not be the smartest for the business. You get upset, you drive employees away, you drive clients away, and it just turns into a shit show for your business. And I think when I look at some of the clinics and salons that I've worked with, especially when it comes to profitable pricing, let's say, they're coming to me when they're at their biggest breakdown. Like they have tax debt, they have super debt, they've gone and purchased some crazy machine, which I'm like, why did you even do that? Like, I'm just like, why? I wish you could even sat and spoke about it to someone. But at the same time, like they don't have anyone to speak about it. So I'm not blaming them, or, like they do the best they can because they think that's going to solve the problem. And like I look at when there's reactive decisions made, how it can cost the business more money. So I'll give some great examples of this. Let's say you haven't had any clients coming in. So you're like, oh my gosh, I really need more clients. You've got $1,000 left in your profit or your bank account, and you just dump that into 1 week of Facebook ads with no strategy. And you go, I've just drained my bank account. There's still no clients, and you're feeling really overwhelmed. That's a perfect example of what some people do when they're running their business reactively. So not only does that mean you've lost money, you've lost time, you've lost opportunity, and you're putting yourself in even more of a stressed out state. And so if you don't focus on improving the way you run your business, in terms of actually designing, like, how do I get clients? How do we retain clients? How do we train up the team so that they can do that? How do we sell products? Like, where are we making money in the business? How do we consistently bring in money in the business? If you don't ask yourself these questions when you first open your business, or honestly at any stage, because I know a lot of people, they don't have a business plan. They are good at beauty. They come into the industry and then they're like, let's figure this out. These are questions I encourage you to ask yourself right now. And if you can't answer them, you need to get some help, because what you might not see happen like right now, but later on down the road, this is when people go, oh my gosh, I can't afford this anymore. I'm selling my salon, or I have to close my business down. And we don't want that for you. You're incredible at what you do. You need to get the support to run your business so it actually works for your lifestyle. It works for your team. Like, you want it to be a profit machine, and that's not greedy. That's being smart, because if you don't have a profit in your business, if you aren't setting up the system and processes to scale sustainably, and you end up barely breaking even or running at a loss, like, it's not going to support you. It's not going to support your team. It's not going to support your family. Like, what's the point?
And on the back end of, setting it up, it's reviewing what worked and what didn't work as well. Because to do something like, oh, this was successful, but if you didn't document it or, actually set it up in your Timely account or whatnot, how are you meant to review what worked and what didn't work to know how you can mimic it and do it again?
100%. I have a know your numbers, I call it know your numbers financial toolkit. And basically one of the sheets in there, it teaches you how to track your KPIs. So it's like how many clients you've seen, how many new, how many rebooked, shows you client retention. Then it shows you all of your services, your product sales, your memberships, gift vouchers. And it helps you break down, like, what are you actually doing in your business and how well is it working? One thing that I put on the side of each week's income is notes. And so you can sit there and go, we did a sale for end of financial year on our products. Or it might go, I had 2 weeks off because I was spending time on holiday or with kids or whatever it is you're doing. And if you can start tracking those kinds of things, you can start to look back on your previous year and go, okay, where are the peaks and troughs? What worked successfully? What are we implementing again? A really interesting thing that we got told to track at bowling is the weather, because we don't have any competition. And when you look at the bowling alley, I know this is a bit of a random example, but our biggest competitor is the weather. If it's a sunny day, everyone's going to the beach. If it's raining, we're fully booked all day. And so by us starting to understand things like when school holidays are, when it's worse weather, when Christmas functions are coming up, we can start to predict and plan ahead with our marketing. We can start doing campaigns for emails. We can update our website. Like, there's so many things we can do proactively, which helps us grow the business. And when we talk about having a sustainable and scalable business model, I know you went through this in one of the other podcast episodes, like the 12-month annual marketing plan. Like, when you can look at your previous data and then plan ahead for the next 12 months,
You're
it just takes exactly. Like, I used to plan maybe a week ahead because that's all I could handle. And I was wondering why I felt like I was going nowhere. And it's literally July 2025 right now. And I'm planning ahead for 2026 now. And that's something I would have never done before. But, when you got a podcast, when you got guests, when you got 2 businesses, it's at the detriment of you living week to week. If you want to go on that holiday, if you want to go celebrate that anniversary, if you want to take your team to the ABIA awards, like, you need to plan that stuff out before it happens, not the week of.
From a financial perspective as well, and tying right back to what we said at the start, having the lifestyle that you want to live and suits you best.
Literally. So, Elli, what happens when your team can't function without you? Like, how does that hold back the entire business if that business owner has to constantly be in there for the business to run?
You cannot step away. You can't step away. So there's no room for leadership. Your team doesn't build confidence or accountability, which means you end up being stuck in that constant cycle of micromanaging the team. I feel like your growth stalls, like you can't focus on the things that we were talking about just then, marketing or strategy or scaling. If you're always working in the business instead of working on it. I definitely think that you need to have the systems in place so that you can, like we just said, live your best life and be ahead of the time.
Definitely. Definitely. I just always think about like Vietnam 2 years ago versus Vietnam this time. Like it was two different circumstances, like burn the business to the ground or like still be actively growing it even when I'm taking time off.
Systems definitely create structure. And I think that when you've got that in place, it also frees up that mental space for you to give, like for you to have peace of mind. You just need to have, you really do. I feel like there's a fear of letting go of control. And do you think that there's actually a mindset block or a system problem? Which one?
It's a bit of both, to be honest with you. Like part of it is ego, right? We think that we have to do it all or we're the only one that can do it. And we don't let go of that control because if we control everything, it gives us that sense of security, like handing it off to someone else. What if they don't do a good job? What if they don't do it to my standard? What if they message the client wrong and it like causes some upset? Whatever. It's that level of ego because when you're in control, you feel a little bit safer, more secure. Yet what you don't see on the other side of that are the positives. Like if you let go of that control, wow, you might actually get support for the first time. Wow, you might actually find someone who's actually better at this than you, and it helps the whole business grow. And so that's kind of the side I like to look at it. It's like, okay, if they're not as good as me, then it's my responsibility to train them to be as good, if not better. It's not my responsibility to sit there and go, I have to do it all. And for anyone I hire, then I take over the jobs from them and I tell them like, oh, no, you're not doing it right. The other part about the systems, and we've spoken about this a lot, but if you can't explain how to do something to someone else and it lives in your head, then it is going to be hard for you to let go of control because there's no quality assurance. If you don't have it written down, recorded, if you can't give it to someone else to do, it is going to be really hard to let go of control because you don't know how they're going to do it. And so this is why you need to have a simple set of instructions. This is why you need to understand how you can actually give people the tools and resources to be able to succeed. And I think people hold back from that, especially when I speak to, let's say, hair and beauty salon owners who have a team. There's two kind of mindsets, right? You've got one who's like, I'm going to invest all my time into training up my team. They're going to be incredible. They're going to offer premium services. Like I want them to win. And then there's the scarcity mindset of, I don't want to train them because what if they take the clients and they just leave, you know? And so I think you've got to understand that if you bring that mindset and that energy of, oh, they're going to leave, they're going to take this, then that's exactly what you're going to create because of how you treat people and how they feel when they're around you. But if someone feels that you are investing all your time and energy into them, you trust them, you're giving them that self-leadership to go off and do that thing, then they're going to feel empowered and stay with you for the long term. And so you've got to change your mindset. You cannot stay stuck and thinking you have to do it all. You can't let go of control. Like you have to understand that in order to grow, it's about building a support system and having trust in that support system. Now, Ellie, if someone's thinking, I don't have time to build the systems, what would you say?
You don't not have time to. Did I answer that right? You don't have time not to.
The people that don't have time to build the systems are the people who need the systems the most.
Yes, and because without the systems, they just keep repeating the same tasks, fixing the same issues, and essentially they just stay stuck in the same chaos. Building systems is what will give you your time back. And to be honest, for the businesses that I've worked for, when they've come to me with their concerns or this has arose, have you got anything for this? Or do you have a document for that? Or how do I get around this? Yep. Instantly you can see relief on their head. relief over them because they don't know where to start. And I get it. It's really hard to know where to start when you do this. Again, just outsource to the right people rather than making it harder for yourself. But adverse reactions is a really good one. If you don't have systems in place for adverse reactions, that is the most stressful time ever because something's happened to a client. Obviously, nobody's meant for it to happen. The therapist is under stress. The business owner is under stress. They don't even have a document to be able to pass on to the client to sign to say this is what we're working on, or they don't even have a process to say, all right, first things first, let's put a cooling pack there, or let's make sure that we've got the hill light available, or let's make sure we're taking before photos and after photos so we can document the process. The follow-up phone call, like one of my businesses needed an adverse reaction had happened, never happened to them before. So I suppose they'd never even thought about it. But once they had, the client release form, the steps for the therapist who it occurred with, everything just became so much more calmer because they had the steps and the security in place. And then from a legal perspective and point of view as well, obviously. So you have to make time to put systems in place and it will lift so much more stress off you. And if you're away, you don't have to worry as much either because they know exactly what they have to follow and do. So then that gives you the opportunity to be able to step away from your business as well. I feel like we talk a lot about the difference between working in the business versus on the business. But from your perspective, Sammy, what does that actually look like?
So when I think about beauty specifically, working in the business is seeing clients. So if you're seeing clients, you're fully booked and you're trying to grow your business, you're trying to hire a team, you're trying to launch an online training, you're trying to launch a product line. Like if there's something else that you're trying to do outside of the business, you cannot work on growing that because you're stuck seeing clients. So there's the in the business, which is providing the service, selling the product, like you're running it, right? And then when I think about working on the business, it's actually what things are you doing to grow it, to create new opportunities? So this might be doing things like the annual marketing calendar. It might be going and pitching for different collaborations. It might be taking the time to build out a new strategy for your business and then train your team up on it. So there's working in, which is providing the service, selling the products, like you're stuck in there. And then there's on the business, which is the growth opportunities. So that's how I like to think of it. Like, do you have anything else to add on to that, or am I making sense in your eyes?
No, definitely making sense to me. And I also feel like it can be challenging because I know myself, like in this first year, I did not expect it, like the beauty business society, to grow as much as it did and to obtain as many clients as I did, which led me to think, oh my goodness, like I'm going to need another consultant, which then leads you to think, well, who the hell else is going to be just like me? But you do have to take that time because if you don't, you'll end up in the same cycle.
So Ellie, if you had 5 extra hours a week and they're not spent putting out fires, how would that change your role as a CEO if you're a beauty salon owner?
5 extra hours. Okay. I probably look at, it would just be around focusing on growth. So whether that is refining the strategy, whether that is developing the team or looking at increasing profits. I think that is the true difference between being a busy operator and a true CEO. So when I say refining your strategy from a business owner's perspective or of a beauty salon, you're actually forecasting the next month. What's the strategy look like for that next month? Based off of what's booked in, your future value, the season. Do you have any collaborations that month? Do you have any sales promos? Like, how are you leveraging it? Developing your team. If there is downtime, like we're in a season where, it's getting cooler, people are getting sicker, we've got last minute cancellations. Where can we develop our team? And obviously that means you have to be aware of your team's skills set. Like I think that's a really big one, being aware of what training they do need and putting that in place. And increasing profits is just looking at your data and, like I said, strategizing for the month ahead, looking at everything from the perspective of what the business needs to be able to grow financially. All right, we've got the retreat coming up, Sammy, and I wanted to kind of talk about the biggest transformation that we're going to see happening there. So from the perspective of people redesigning their business model, what are some of the things that we're going to help them do?
Well, first things first, this might sound strange, but getting clear on who you are as a person and what you actually want. I think if you are someone who feels lost, gets that imposter syndrome, starts comparing to everyone else, like I have been the last couple of weeks, like the first thing you want to get clear on, like, who the fuck are you? Like, what are you good at? Like, what do you want out of life? Why did you create this business? And have you channel into that energy so you are excited and you feel like you're connected to your greater life's mission or the impact you want to create. And so when we're clear on that, then we move through to, okay, what do you actually want to do with your time? And I think that's going to be a combination of like, how many hours are you working in the business? What are you doing in the business? Are you seeing clients? Are you working with team? Are you a solo business owner and you want a team? Do you currently have a team and you want more, you want less? Like, what do you actually want in terms of how the business is structured? And then where are you spending your time? Are there other projects? Like, I want to get it all out of your head and just have it on a piece of paper. So every single idea is just out in the open. And then you can start highlighting, like, what do you actually want? With understanding what you want, the next part is, how do we make that happen? So like, what's the gap between where you are right now and where you want to be? So do you need to hire? Do you need to set up an online platform? Do you need to get in contact with suppliers? Like, what does that journey look like for you? And then we're creating a plan of where you're going to be within the next 12 months. Now, the coolest part about this is that once we're really clear on your business model, where you're spending your time, how you're actually structuring your weeks and working towards that goal, we're almost going to do the second step, which is the same process, but just for your marketing. So you know how to make it happen. And that's Elli's areas of expertise. So she has been, oh my gosh, I've been seeing these results. I know you're not going to pump yourself up as much as I'll pump you up, but some of these salons that have implemented this marketing strategy by just planning 12 months ahead, all the promotions, all the holidays, they're seeing over 20% revenue growth. And so you're seeing some go from, 50 to 80K months. You're seeing some people literally go from, oh my gosh, I never would have thought we would make the most amount of money in April when there's Easter, when there's Anzac Day, all these public holidays, and here they are smashing goals. So that is the goal for me. But Elli, is there anything to add on there?
No, you've pumped my tires up enough. That's going to be a really exciting day for anyone who is going to the retreat, because I feel like when I start the annual marketing calendar, a lot of clients are like, oh my gosh, like I didn't think of this. I didn't think of staff annual leave. I didn't think of, the Hallmark holidays. And took them into consideration. They were just running with, oh, yep, let's do this. So it's a little bit overwhelming, but once we get the ball rolling and they start to see how to do it, and if you're a really good business owner and you know your clientele, you know your services, you know what people want, that's when you get those, 20,000 plus, 40,000 plus revenue increases in a month. So it is a really, really exciting time. I love that. I love the annual marketing calendar.
I think people who feel lost and people who have a big idea but they're not sure how to execute it, like you've got all the things in your head but you're just not sure how to plan it out, like that's what that day is going to be about. It's about understanding who you are, what you want, how you're going to create it, and then with that in mind, how are we creating the steps in your marketing so you actually achieve it? Because for me, I've been to plenty of things where I'm like, cool, that sounds like a great idea, but how? Like, if you want to say, I want to make $1 million, like you need to break that down. How are you going to do that? And so we want to give you not just the motivational hype up, but actually the tools, the resources to implement. Ellie, I'm also curious because we've spoken about this off mic a bit. What is a delegation matrix and how will that finally help people get out of the bottleneck?
A delegation matrix creates clarity. So everyone knows who owns what. So tasks stop bouncing back on you. So I go through with my teams roles and responsibilities, and it's not, you have your team leader and you have your 2IC, and that for majority of it, it goes through them. But by outlining who's best suited for what job, it means that you can shift from micromanaging into real leadership. Your team steps up, discussions get made without you. Like business owners, just their phone, the text messages for honestly questions that they could be asking a team leader and not having to worry about makes a world's difference. And I feel like it finally gives the business owners the space to grow the business instead of running around in circles, answering the same questions again, that if you delegate the specific tasks to the team member or to the 2IC, they know the go-to person, you can focus on the bigger picture things.
So really with the business model structure, it's understanding who sits where, what team you need in place, what support systems, and then what you're delegating as well. Because,
And the accountability, because if you just let everyone do it, I feel like a lot of things were, but I thought like Anna was going to do that. Or I thought Rebecca was doing that. Not, this is your job. This is your responsibility. You're accountable for it. And I'm going to retouch base with you specifically. Sammy, what do you think changes when someone finally makes a decision to stop doing it all alone?
Less stress, more happy, good vibe. Honestly, I think when someone finally makes the decision to stop doing it all alone and you take that time to take a step back so you can take 5 steps forward, you realize that all the things you're pushing so hard in the burnout zone to achieve, but you just can't achieve, they just happen. Like when you get that support system in place and you have that structure, like how you're structuring your team and your business, what are the tasks that they're doing? What's being delegated to other people? What are you focusing on? Where are you spending your time? What is your mission that you're working towards and how are we getting there? Like when you have all those pieces of information, everything feels more achievable. You're on top of the world. You're not looking at what anyone else is doing. You're going full steam ahead because you know you're out to achieve what you've set out to. I don't know what I'm trying to say. You know that the thing that you're working towards is going to happen. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when you follow the plan. And so if you're coming to the retreat, you are going to have so much clarity that 2026 is going to be your biggest year in business, not from a revenue perspective, but from a personal growth perspective, from a profit perspective, because you're actually having experts who are guiding you and giving you the cheat codes. Like there's so many people out there who have been in my DMs and they've inquired to work with me or they've spoken before and it's like 12 months past and they come back and they're like, I wish I did it sooner. And so the retreat is 5 days together. That is so we can do what would usually take some people 5 months in 5 days, and you've got the whole year to reap the rewards of the implementation that you do then and there.
If you're listening right now and you're thinking, that's me, I built something and I can't even step away from it, this is your sign. You need a model that actually supports your goals, not just your to-do list.
Inside the Beauty Industry Leaders Retreat, we'll walk you through how to audit, align, and rebuild your business model so it finally supports the life and income you actually want. I'll show you how to get clear on your long-term vision, design your ideal business model, and map out exactly how you spend your time each week to make that vision a reality.
And you'll also join me for a powerful, expert-led workshop where I will walk you through my signature 12-month marketing plan, the same one that's helped dozens of salon owners boost their revenue by 20% or more.
So if you're interested of moving out of the burnout mode and becoming a real CEO and taking control, taking charge, having that power in your business, head to the link in the show notes to learn more. We have the retreat info all up on a nice landing page for you. If you're keen, we have early bird prices available until the 30th of July. So if you want to lock in a cheaper price, now is your time. Or if you've got any questions and you're not sure, like, how do I get there? What do I do? Like, how do I get cheaper flights? Actually, I'm going to create a whole content series on that stuff. So, stay tuned for that. Just DM us the word retreat on Instagram and we'll have a conversation with you. We will give you the information you need. You weren't meant to do this alone. The smartest CEOs aren't stuck doing it all alone. They're building businesses that run, grow, and scale without them burning out in the process.
So let's finish that with, we'll see you in Vietnam. See you in Vietnam.
Bye.
Audience exclusive.